Oh, sorry. Alright. Sorry. Alright. So, I would say, yeah, there were some mechanic spoilers and things like that, and final dungeon spoilers and stuff, but you guys kept it pretty much to a minimum. I'd prefer that we keep it like that, if at all possible. Okay, music rating for this game. At the start of the game, I was really enjoying the music. Then as the game went on, there was a lot of music that I just felt was bad. Yeah, if anybody's got a link to the poll still, if you don't mind linking that again. I'm a little bit afraid of trying to click a different link right now and it being all messed up on my end. Because it was for a bit. If you scroll up in chat, buddy, you might be able to see it. Anyway, so the music was hit or miss for me. There's a few tracks in the game that I really like. There's a bunch of tracks in the game that I just really hated and couldn't stand listening to, and I feel like the ones that I just couldn't stand are the ones that they played the most. So overall, I'd say that it was about a 6 or 7 for me. There are tracks that I'd really like, and I'd add them to a playlist and stuff like that. I'm gonna go ahead and give that a, I'd say that I'm gonna go ahead and give that a 7 because there is some stuff that I like, and it's definitely stuff that I'd add to a playlist. So graphics for the area, I really like the graphics in this game. I like the aesthetic. I liked how it looked and stuff like that. It was really good. The Dragoon forms were cool. Some of the attacks were pretty cool and things like that. The areas were really well done and unique. Although most of them were very short, I'd say that's probably one of the strengths of this game for the time frame. So I'm going to say that it was probably one of the stronger points of the game. I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8. So the story rating. I didn't really like the story of this game. And I think a lot of that's because of the translation for it. It was just really bad. Anything that was supposed to be interesting or something like that was just completely blown up by the fact that the text was terrible. It was difficult to follow because of that too. And there wasn't really a whole lot going on, to be honest. It was kind of like nothing too serious throughout the time. It was just, honestly, until we got up to the end of the game and stuff like that, it was supposed to be epic and it just fell short. I'm not going to count voice acting, even though that was definitely something that will affect the overall rating as a whole. But the story was just kind of meh, and honestly the localization just made it even worse, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a 6. It was something that was definitely playable, but... Okay, so mechanics. I really enjoyed the addition system at the start. I like the fact that when you're trying to use attacks and stuff like that, enemies could attack you back. It made you feel more incorporated in the fight. But the way that you level up additions and stuff like this in the game is a struggle. You have to constantly spam the same attack, and all you're getting out of it is a little bit more damage increase after you level it up. So that means 20 times that you use it, you're gaining absolutely nothing out of using it until finally you do. And then when you do, it's a small, negligible damage increase. Once you master an addition, you don't necessarily get another addition to start putting points towards. So having someone like Dart in your party, you might be sitting there attacking and not gaining anything out of it, which is incredibly frustrating for me. I didn't like the fact that you had to turn into Dragoons to use magic. I kind of wish that you could use magic, and then when you turn into Dragoon, maybe it would be stronger. Like, instead of just healing, there was AoE healing and stuff like that. So it made me not really want to use characters like Miranda or anything like that, that were heavily based on having Dragoon forms, but building SP so slowly at the start. I could see how strong she can get late game, I understand that, but really, it was just, why use her? It would have been more of a struggle to use her early. And because of how you learn additions and stuff like that in the game, it just made everything incredibly tedious, and the fights are tedious, and bosses have extreme amounts of HP, but they're not difficult. Like, there's nothing inherently difficult about this game. You get a little bit of RNG in your favor on any particular boss, and you can wipe it with pretty much any party. There's lots of times where there's no real reason to use a character that doesn't have a Dragoon form, because you're kind of hindering yourself by not doing that. So it influenced what characters I played, which in turn influenced what characters I played throughout the whole game, because I spent so much time leveling their additions. If you're the type of person that really enjoys grinding and going through and experimenting with every character, and you're okay with the long, tedious, drawn-out battles, you're probably going to have more fun with the mechanics in this game. But overall, very strong start, but their attempt at making everything epic and incorporated and stuff like that really made this suffer for me. So as much as I hate to say it, I'm going to have to give this a 5 or a 6, and I'm going to round it up to a 6 because I did enjoy it at the start. And I feel like if the game was maybe shorter, or the way you learned additions and stuff like that was different, or if you could switch additions and battles and things like that, I would have enjoyed it so much more. I would have loved it. Being able to do different additions and battles and stuff like that and be tactical, rather than pick one at the start and keep going for the rest. Yes, we won. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 6. Alright, grinding rating. Okay, so this is where you want to have a higher number for this as well. So there are way too many battles in this game, and you get basically nothing for it but addition grinding. That's it. They intentionally made it so that fighting and stuff like that, random mobs and everything else, gives you next to no experience and next to no money. However, they have these random enemies spread out in the fields that you can kill with certain items and stuff like that give you lots of money, lots of experience, and stuff like that. But who's gonna just, like, avoid every other fight and go and fight those fights? You're not, because you're not gonna grind your additions up. Up until about Disc 3, I fought basically every fight in the game. And then I started to get to the point where my additions were already maxed on my characters, and I had nothing to really gain out of it except for a little experience and money. So, yes, there's way too many battles. Boss battles are way too long. There's nothing inherently difficult or fun about them. It's just a slog of a game in these regards. Way too many damn battles. Even though you have the option to see when you're going to get into an encounter or around the time that you're going to get into an encounter, and using charm items and stuff like that to get rid of encounters, there's still way too many battles. Just way too many. It's exactly what it was. But that's not even it. Those battles were put in so that you switched your characters around and experienced them all and learned your additions. That's why there was so many battles. They're not going to come out and be like, that's the reason, but that's really what it is. Because if you don't have your additions leveled at the end, you're going to end up missing out on a lot. So I'm going to say that the grinding in this game is basically because there's too many battles. Battles take far too long, and you get barely anything for it. Boss battles take far too long and things like that. It's going to get a low score for me. I'm going to go ahead and give that a 3. So, the thing about this game is, overall, for me, is I enjoyed it at the start. As it kept going on, I was starting to get bored of it and kind of annoyed of it and things like that. Every time I tried to get excited about a new edition, the first time I would finally get it, it'd be great, and then I'd see the amount of damage that it would do and things like that, and I would just be like, what's the point? Why not go back to another edition that I know how to land constantly and get more damage out of? But I got the fact that leveling up your additions would get you more damage. But everything about this game was just a slog to me, and the story and everything else being slow, and the character dialogue and the voice acting and everything else, it just really, really, really made me want to take a break from it multiple times. And that's a shame, because I see what they were going for, and there was so much love put into this game, you can tell. Maybe they didn't have the financial support and stuff like that to make it as good as they did with voice acting and things, or as good as they could have, rather, with voice acting and stuff like that. But I just feel like the game just suffered, maybe because it came out on the PlayStation and not the PS2, or in like an era where they could have really done a lot. Even the frame rate drops when you're trying to do attacks and stuff like that, and especially when enemies counter, and that's annoying. There's so much about this game that could have been good that just wasn't. It was like the game that had so much potential for me in my mind with how good it looked and everything else that it just fell short on everything. But that being said, there were still parts that were fun and were enjoyable, but it's definitely a game that I would never replay. It's pretty mediocre overall to me. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I'd give it a 6.5, and whenever I'm giving a 6.5 on the list, at least here on this list, I'm going to round it up. But, I don't know. That final boss and everything else at that point really, really, really drilled home to me aspects of this game that I didn't like. So I'm going to go ahead and go with my better judgment. I'm going to give it a 6. And I know you guys are going to compare it to the fact that I gave stuff like Dark Cloud and Bot and Kaitos and stuff like that a 6, but please understand that games that are above a 5 for me are pretty good, you know? It's a decent game. It's not bad by any means. But I think people that see anything under like 8s and 9s and stuff like that are really think that I'm just like destroying the game. Anyway, let me see what you guys rated here. I need to do the math. Holy crap, we got a lot of votes. Sorry. And then we'll get to the raffle. But I appreciate it, guys. 6 is not my secret 10 rating. Yes, like I said, it's a game that was worth experiencing, for one. Alright. Holy crap, we got a lot of votes this time. Holy shit! There was a lot of 10s. Way more than I expected. Alright, looks like you guys gave it a 7.1, so you guys gave it a 7. Pretty close to what I did. Alright. So, I'm gonna get the raffle started. All you guys gotta do is type the word raffle in, and you enter the raffle. So if you like JRPGs, I highly recommend entering. Everyone has an equal chance of winning. Doesn't matter how many times you win. Plenty of games to choose from. Holy shit, there's a lot of people here. Yeah, all you have to do is type in the word raffle. And let me make sure that I get Nightbot out of here. Nightbutt, where are you? I don't see it in here, but... Where are you, Nightbot? But anyway, everyone has an equal chance of winning. I highly recommend that you enter, even if you're here and you lurk most of the time and stuff like that. No, I'm not going to replay this game. What's today? It is the 20th of September. And it took us 44 hours, 17 minutes, and 2 seconds. It should have taken a lot less time. I'll mark it green. You guys take your time. Enter the raffle. Raffle trigger! Never win raffle 15. Yeah, give Nightbot you, huh? It went okay. Alright guys, I'll give you about another minute or two. Again, even if you lurk and stuff like that and you're not one to really type in chat, I highly recommend just type in the word raffle, giving yourself a chance to pick a game that you see me play. Oh, Eternal Sonata. I want to play that game so bad. Dark Raffle, no. No more Dark Cloud. No more Dark Cloud. Absolutely not. Alright, it looks like everyone that entered is in. I try my best to make sure everybody's actually in and stuff like that. Alright guys, good luck everyone. Thank you for sticking around. 3, 2, 1, go. There you go, Desiree, you won! Yeah, you won. You can rub it in Kevin's face now. Congratulations to Desiree. We will wait here to see what she picks. And I'll mess with my sheet a little bit. Oops. Nah. I was hinting at Eternal Sonata because people mentioned it, but that's a game I want to play. There's like 10 games I want to play. Go ahead and take your time. There's lots of games on the list, and I want everyone to pick a game that they really want to see. So, take your time. Oh, poor Rio. For now. Yep, Desiree won. Hardest choice. Final rig 6. I'm really curious now what we're going to be playing. Narrowed it down to 3. Oh, there you go. Take your time. We need another song other than this. Nope. Wait, let's see if we can find that song that played at the end of the game. That was, like, really cool. I think this was it. No, we're not doing Final Fantasy V. No way in hell. No way in hell. Are you going with Eternal Sonata? You're not only picking it because I said something, are you? Now I feel bad for mentioning it. Are you sure that's what you want to see? I'm just waiting for confirmation. Alright, alright. Thank you so much for picking. That's a game that I've actually been wanting to play again for a long time, believe it or not. No, this is not my first time playing it, but it's been a while. Oh man, that's a really good list of games, Desiree. That's a really, really good list. Shut up, Deicide. I was not in on it. Those are all really good games that I'm actually interested in playing, so... Okay, so next game is going to be Fragile Dreams, Farewell Ruins of the Moon, picked by Altanin, and then the game after that is Eternal Sonata, picked by Desiree. Thank you so much, guys, for sticking around. Sorry I can't really get started on the next game or anything. I have to make sure that I get stuff taken care of in my apartment and things like that for people heading over this weekend. But I can send you guys somewhere. And I really appreciate everyone sticking around, especially through all the salt and stuff like that yesterday. You guys are awesome. You really are. Let's see here. Alright, so you guys like JRPGs, so I'm gonna send you somewhere where someone's doing JRPGs. I'm gonna send you guys over to Meta Sigma. He does a lot of Secret of Evermore runs and stuff like that, but right now he's doing Breath of Fire 3 casually. So go ahead, stop by, say hi, and actually, you know what? Let's do raid. I love raiding, and I don't get this many people in my chat very often. So what do we want to say, guys? What do we want to say to Meta Sigma? What do you guys think? What should we say to good old Meta here?